Welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast. I'm Greg Burke, and now in my 24th year as Director of Athletics at Northwestern State University. Creating an environment in which student athletes and young professionals can develop skill sets to make them successful in any walk of life is invaluable. Mentors can provide an extra measure of confidence by helping them grow, by seeking their input, and by listening to their ideas. This and much more can be found in Will Baggett and Ty Brown's book, The Blueprint for a Successful Career, a foundation for developing young professionals. Find it on Amazon.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast, where we highlight executive and organizational leadership. This episode of 1Q will be hosted by Brian Blair, Deputy Athletics Director at Washington State University. Take it away, Brian.
Welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast, where we highlight executive and organizational leadership. This is Brian Blair, and I'm the Deputy Athletic Director at Washington State University. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 1Q Leadership. I'm joined today by DeeDee Merritt. DeeDee is the Director of Leadership Development at the NCAA National Office. Thanks for joining us, DeeDee.
Brian, good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I think we're both Twitter famous for our culinary skills. I post all the barbecue photos. You do virtually everything in the world and do it amazing. So hopefully round 2 of this podcast, we can dive more into that and less about the business at hand.
Absolutely. Listen, I can't wait until the day when we can get together in the kitchen. It's going to be epic. Seriously.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So I want to dive right in. We first met, actually, I believe, via NCAA programming that you now oversee and lead. So could you give us a quick overview of your role at the NCAA for those that may not be familiar with you?
Absolutely. So I serve as the Director of Leadership Development here at the NCAA. And leadership development is the education and training arm of the association. It's our job to help to educate and empower and uplift our student athletes to make sure that they have a great experience. And we do that 2 ways. One, directly with our programs and services that we offer to them, and then indirectly by educating those who coach, teach, and lead them. All doing this with a focus of uplifting our minority student athletes and administrators and coaches of color so that our student athletes can see themselves in those who coach, teach, and lead them.
Absolutely. And I think one of the fascinating pieces about what you do, and you described it right there, you've got the student athlete piece, which many of us on our campuses have had student athletes go through those programs and all rave reviews. Even during this pandemic, you guys have done a great job. But then the staff piece, and I want to dive a little bit deeper into that one, especially for our listeners on the podcast. When I think about your program and just here recently, 2 big changes coming to mind, right? The first probably being the Leadership Collective, and I'm fascinated to learn more about that. Can you kind of let me know how that came about and kind of what your goals or aspirations are with that program?
Sure. Happy to. So the leadership development has been a project that has been several years in the making. It actually came about as a directive from the Board of Governors for leadership development and NCAA inclusion to provide more programs and services to help increase the numbers of minority administrators and coaches who are ascending into those top positions, as well as to create a pipeline of programming that allows us to have a pipeline of individuals of color who are taking those necessary steps to get into those higher level positions. And so the collective was really a project that began to solve the question of where are these fantastic administrators and coaches of color? We hear it all the time, Brian. People are asking that question. I don't know where to find them. They're not in my network. And so the collective is an electronic platform that was designed specifically to solve that problem, to make sure that we're taking away the excuse of not knowing who these fantastic individuals are. And so we worked on it for several years. We're now in the population phase of it, and it really provides users the opportunity to get to know the candidates, the individuals who will be on this platform. They have the opportunity to see their resumes. They have the opportunity to obviously search and do pretty intricate searches based on the experiences that they would like to see individuals have. But one of the unique things about it is that the users have the opportunity as they're creating their profiles to talk about their leadership philosophy, to expound on those things that one might talk about in an interview session, to have that there in black and white so that people can get a better sense of who that individual is as a leader is a really unique facet of this. And then they also, users have the opportunity to view any sort of videos and press that individuals would like to upload to their page. Our main focus is to make sure that candidate pools are diverse, and that we hope that those actions will lead to more minorities in the leadership space because of it.
Absolutely. And I mean, congratulations and thank you for the work you're doing on behalf of the industry. I think there's a lot to unpack there, right? I think the opportunity for a user to put in their leadership philosophy and really expound on who they are, because a lot of these things, and this word gets overused, but it's fit. And for individuals to go in and say, hey, this person looks like somebody I need to at least talk to or get to know a little bit better for this committee appointment or for this role or for this job is just fascinating, because I think a lot of the search firms have a file on candidates or they have notes. This gives, at least it sounds like, the user a little more ownership of what's out there, and that'll be coupled with everything that is a part of their brand or part of their profile or part of their bio. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we really want to do, Brian, is we want to be of help and of service to not only our membership institutions, but to our affiliate organizations as well as our search firms. Everyone will have access to it. The access will be free. And what we really want is to make sure that as people are compiling lists, as people are thinking about who's next up in this space, that they have this resource so that they can go and do their own research on exactly who is out there. And on the institution side, they may be working with a search firm, but here's another resource for them to be able to take a look at some individuals themselves so that they have more information and can have more robust conversations about who would be a good fit for a particular position at their institution. So really what we want this to be is just that resource for everyone.
Absolutely. And I love the access piece, because I see it kind of from two angles, right? I mean, I've done a number of coaching searches and administrative hires, and even as a minority myself, it'd be helpful to be able to go in that pool and make sure or feel as comfortable as possible that I've done everything I can do to really diversify this pool and make sure we got a bunch of backgrounds at the table when we make our decision on who we're filling a position for, but also as somebody that has aspirations of one day being an athletic director, this gives me the opportunity to have my information be seen by those in that decision-making faction. So I think so many of us will interact with the platform in a number of ways. I'm really, really excited about what's to come. I guess the final question that I would have on the Leadership Collective, and you touched on this a little bit, of kind of the outcome, like how do you judge success as you think about it? Because I mean, and you know, in this industry, some of these searches happen kind of under a cloak of secrecy, depending on what state you're in, private, public, whatever have you, and especially depending on the level. I mean, how do we judge success? How do we view this platform as being successful long term?
So our main goals right now are to judge it via access, to measure the number of institutions and outside affiliate organizations that are accessing the platform. And then to hopefully be able to ask some questions via surveys and other connection points of whether or not the information provided in the platform was helpful to them in their hiring processes. But really, right now, it's about having that access. And because we are the membership association, we have the opportunity to provide access to everyone. So I really think that that is going to be the key driver of measuring success for us right now. Is getting it out to everyone, having them be able to take a look. And then as we're moving along, be able to come back in and ask the question, was the information provided helpful to you? So access and helpfulness for right now, Brian, are our two main focuses.
Absolutely. And I love what you said there about the access piece, because you're using a platform of sorts. I mean, so much of that data is readily available, no different than how we use it on clicks on our webpage or social media interactions or those kind of things. I mean, data rules the day and helps you make more sound decision making. So I love the fact that by virtue of this being a platform and you judging, really, you're controlling what you can control, right? And that is how many times somebody uses this and their usability. The combination of that data and the surveys should give you some pretty good feedback on your early returns.
Absolutely.
I want to switch gears because and I led this question by saying there's kind of two big changes here recently that at least publicly, that I've seen from leadership development. I think the second being the NCAA Pathway Program, and your partnership with Collegiate Sports Associates. And so I went through the Pathway Program, full transparency, had a tremendous experience, one of the best programs I've ever done. And we did a mock interview in that session, and they videoed it, and I still review that video with the search firm at the time to kind of give me feedback. Can you kind of walk us through a little bit of how CSA is changing or assisting in that process to better prepare your candidates for that ultimate goal of becoming an athletic director or commissioner?
Sure. The great thing about working here at the national office is that we get the opportunity to engage with all of the search firms and affiliate organizations, and all of them have had involvement in the Pathway program. The good thing about the project that we're working on with CSA right now is the mock interview portion of the program. And last summer, I know you remember CSA, they had a contest, so to speak, regarding senior level administrators going through the process of applying for a position and then actually being involved in a mock interview process where a winner was chosen, a person that would be hired, and that was Monica LeBron at Tulane. And so we looked at that and said, we have a pretty robust interview preparation process on our end. It would be great if we could come together to work on a mock interview process that is completely comprehensive for our Pathway program individuals. And so we did just that. And it was a really good partnership for us to be able to engage in with them. What we've done is CSA has been able to create job applications, job position openings. They have a platform, and we go in, and our users are really going through the search process from start to finish. And it culminates with a mock interview with individuals from CSA as well as our former Pathway participants, so that our cohort will really get the opportunity to see the process from start to finish, be able to learn, be able to see their outcomes and adjust as necessary so that they are ready to go when that time comes for them to be next up for a position as a director of athletics or a conference commissioner.
Absolutely. I love this idea. I mean, one, shout out to Monica LeBron at Tulane for one, having the bravery to enter that contest. That's something more than a lot of us did. And two, for just absolutely crushing it on the video interview and winning the social distance U athletic director chair. But I think two, and what I love about this is we preach to our athletes all the time that you practice to get better, right? You get reps in, you put in the extra work. And I think what you guys have designed there with this Pathway program, this partnership, is a way for athletic director candidates not only to practice that interview process, because it can be nervous. You could be nervous. You haven't done it before. You're speaking to a president or a huge group of people that you don't know. So getting some of those bugs out early on and getting feedback in a way that's really non-threatening. And Drew and Todd and that crew and your crew can be really helpful throughout that process. So when you do go for that actual athletic director opportunity, you've got prior reps in, you feel like you're at your best, you put in the extra practice, extra work. I love it.
Yes, it's been a really good process for us and partnership on this project so far. And really looking forward to the interviews. They started this week, and they'll keep moving forward the next couple of weeks, and then to be able to evaluate and assess the effectiveness of it at the end. We're really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. DeeDee, I mean, I mentioned at the start of the podcast that you and we met as participants, actually, and now you oversee the entire leadership development group. I mean, what's one thing now that you're working at the national office, you're leading that program, that most people don't know about NCAA leadership development programming?
One thing, I think that one thing that many people don't know about leadership development programming is the level of commitment and buy-in from the national office as a whole. From the top leadership, President Merritt, all the way down. People in this building are committed to the success of the student athletes, but are also as equally committed to the success of our coaches and our administrators. And it's a really, really good thing to have when you're a small shop and you're trying to execute programming and services that are designed to impact tens, hundreds of thousands of people. It's a really, really good thing to have that support here in this building from the colleagues that I have.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm somebody I'm biased, but I've seen it firsthand. I mean, there's just so many wonderful people working in the NCAA national office. And I feel like sometimes they get lost in the media narratives and other things that are out there. And DeeDee, you're certainly one of those. I mean, you're one of the most positive people I've ever met. I'm so excited for you to be leading this NCAA leadership development program. And thanks for joining us today on One Question.
Thank you so much, Brian. I had a great time with you. I'm super proud of you. And again, I look forward to the day when we can get in the kitchen or at least get in front of the grill together and make some culinary magic happen.
Yeah, One Question culinary magic is happening sooner or later. Let's guarantee it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was DeeDee Merritt. She is the Director of Leadership Development at the NCAA. And of course, this is Brian Blair, Deputy Athletic Director at Washington State University. Thanks for tuning in, and please remember, stay humble, stay curious. We'll catch you next time.
This episode of the One Question Leadership Podcast is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.